It's time for one of my favorite segments of the week every week, our first touchdown round robin. We need a bounce back here, but I believe in a bounce back this week, Dave. Take us through it.
Yep, we are very hungry for a bounce back. As we talked about last week, it's nice at least when the guys getting in the end zone first aren't your second options. They're the bottom of the barrel scrapers, the guys you've never heard of. It takes a little bit of the sting out. I think in the Vikings game we had Jordan Mason. I think it was a interception or the fumble return for a touchdown. So you're just like, all right, you just kind of know on those days that it might not be your day. But let's see if it is in week 4 as we run through our top 5 first touchdown probabilities from the Dimers model. We're starting off with Josh Jacobs, 17% on the road at the Cowboys. Packers have scored first in all 3 games this season. We've talked already about the Cowboys' ability to probably slow down this Packers team being non-existent. I think your concern here is a big explosive passing play to get things started, but Josh Jacobs is the number 1 overall probability from the Dimers model this week. Next up, Bijan Robinson versus the Commanders. The Falcons have scored the first touchdown twice. They scored no touchdowns last week. One of those first touchdowns was with Bijan, and notably both were running backs, with Tyler Algier getting the second first touchdown of their season. Christian McCaffrey at 16%. Niners are hosting the Jaguars in this one. Mac Jones revenge game, baby. 49ers have scored first touchdown in all 3 games. It's just a matter of time before it's their best player doing so.
You would think so, right? Like he's been such an end zone fiend for years that they keep jumping out to these 7-0 leads, and it's just not him yet. It's a matter of time. I'm with you.
Yeah, last week it was Juice, so they still the backfield, but not CMC or even the RB2. And I'm forgetting who it was in game 2. It was the complete no one, the guy I'd never heard of before in my life.
Yeah.
Matter of time before Christian McCaffrey gets in the end zone first here. Next up, we got James Cook as the Bills host the Saints, which should be an absolute scrub job in which Josh Allen might just kind of take the day off. Bills have scored the first TD twice. James Cook scored one of them. He's one of 2 running backs with 4 touchdowns this season, the other being Jonathan Taylor. Also, who had James Cook with the better career than Dalvin Cook, all said and done? Not me, but that's where it looks like it's trending. Anyway, and we'll close out with Omarion Hampton, the man of the week in his RB1 role, 15% at the Giants. This is his first shot at the full workhorse role. Got in the end zone last week. Giants can't stop the run. Chargers have scored first touchdown in all 3 of their games. There you have it. Dimers top 5 first touchdown probabilities of week 4. Play the round robin. I think $1 if all 5 hit wins you about $3K. So please bet responsibly and don't overexpose yourself here. But just one little ×2 if you scale your stake will turn a tiny little profit. And ×3 or better, and we're cooking with gas.
You heard the man. And again, Dimers Pro, our projections hub, features first, anytime, 2 touchdown, 3 touchdown probabilities. If you want to know how likely it is that any football player does anything on the field, that's what our projections help you find. So go get Dimers Pro. Make sure you're not missing any of this.
We may get a little more spicy with these later on in the season and start trying to play some matchups, look at teams that are exposed against certain positions, try to find more vulnerabilities. But for these first weeks, we're just riding with our top 5. So we got projections for everybody. If you don't like one of these guys, see what we got, and you might find yourself with a more favorable player for your own personal preference on Dimers.
Amen. Good way to do it. All right. We've taken you through what the model likes here. But we're also human beings. Maybe there's some things that we like that we want to add to this show. Dave, what do you like this week?
Yeah, so let me just I don't have anything fun to put on the screen here because I'm still waiting on a line for Michael Pittman in this. It's kind of bizarre that it wasn't up. And Alec Pierce has I think a concussion, so maybe they're waiting to put up the Colts receivers lines till they know exactly what the deal is with him. But everything else was up there. So here, I'll pull it up for you, at least on the screen. I'm looking at a 50 receiving yards and anytime touchdown pairing for 3 receivers in pretty good spots this week. Romeo Doubs, we project him. Yeah, it's a little switching up here, but I like it, and it's a huge long shot. So we're putting a couple dollars, a pizza slice money on this thing, and if it hits, we know we're covered for the whole season on these. So Romeo Doubs, 47.9 receiving yards from the model, so we need a couple extra from him there. 29% anytime TD probability. But I've already talked to death about how much I like the Packers pass catchers against the Cowboys. Michael Pittman could have an even bigger role if Alec Pierce is indeed out. 53.8 receiving yards projected, 25% anytime TD probability against a Rams team that let the Eagles finally open up their passing game and get a touchdown to their top 3 scoring options. And Keenan Allen, the man coming out of nowhere this year to be the Chargers wide receiver 1. We kind of overlooked him in our Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey talk, but Keenan Allen, touchdown in all 3 games so far, projected for 55.5 receiving yards, 32% anytime touchdown probability in this game. Currently, this is 56-1 odds without Pittman's yards included in here. If you just play the touchdown parlay on its own, it's plus 25-28 over at DraftKings. I would imagine the Pittman yards probably take this thing to over 70-1 or so, which also gives you plenty of room to water it down. If you want to play the Dimers projections to a T, you can play them all for 40 plus at a much less favorable juice. But I like these guys this week. They're all in good spots, and they've been showing out for their teams in more ways than one. So give it to me. 50 yards, touchdown. Hopefully we're talking about this next week as the you should have bet that moment.
Also, individually, not crazy at all for any of these guys, right? 50 yards and a touchdown is like a relatively average day for these guys based on how the season has started. I like your point about Allen, too. As good as the Chargers have been, when they get in the red zone, there's a trust level that's there with Keenan Allen that's just not with McConkey or even Quentin Johnson right now. It's like, if we're on our own side of the field, sure, take a deep shot. Or Ladd's a huge PPR guy, of course. But Justin Herbert repeatedly looks for Keenan Allen, going out of his way as the first read when they're inside the 20. And he had a couple hands on the ball plays in the end zone that did not get caught as well. He could have had 2 touchdowns last week. So I like Allen a lot. I like all of these guys. We talked about Dubs early in the show as well, but that's a fun angle for sure. Thank you for sharing. I teased this 10 minutes ago, but Emeka Egbuka is where I am going this week. So Mike Evans is out. What is that going to do to this star-studded rookie and his connection with Baker Mayfield? I think it's a breakout game. I just do. Chris Godwin's coming back, and because there's so many moving parts right now, at the time of this recording on Thursday afternoon, we basically don't have any Tampa Bay receiver lines right now. No book will give you them. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. Evans is out. Godwin is questionable, but I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be on a limited snap count. There's talks that Egbuka could potentially see some double teams this week. If Godwin does play, honestly, it would probably help Egbuka spring open a little more because he'd have less attention if so. Either way, I just think this kid's sensational. He's Ohio State's all-time leading receiver. Anywhere he's gone, he's produced. Anytime more has been put on his plate, he's delivered. And he's found the end zone twice in a game already in his debut this season. So the props that are out right now are touchdown props for this Tampa game. You can get Emeka 2 touchdowns at 14-1. We talked through it briefly earlier in the episode, but outside of Hurts and Barkley, Emeka's right there, right? It's Bucky Irving third. It's Emeka fourth most likely scorer in this game. I just think Baker Mayfield is going to be looking Emeka's way more than he has all season. We project him at 4.5 catches, 58 yards in this game. It feels a little light to me personally, especially if Chris Godwin is limited, which we expect. And lastly, look, Philadelphia is good. I know our model likes Tampa Bay plus 3.5 is the best bet of the week. I like it as well. I think Tampa can win this game. However, Philly's good enough that if they have an early lead here or if the game script goes sideways at all, I think the game script is going to call for a lot of passing here. Baker Mayfield needing to air it out, whether they're trailing or whether they're just trying to expose the Philadelphia secondary a little bit and not run through the core of a really good defense. Emeka should be heavily involved. As soon as his yards and receptions props come out, I am going to play some alternate lines. I like him around 6, maybe even 7 receptions. I like him upwards of 80 to 90 yards in this game. But 2 touchdowns, 14-1, one of my favorite plays of the week for a team that I think is going to need to air it out a ton against Philly. Any thoughts on Egbuka here? I know we talked about him earlier, but anything to add?
Yeah, 8.4% from the Dimers model for 2 touchdowns at 1,400. That's a pretty sizable value. That should only be about 1,100. So it's a good edge, good upside. It's definitely one I'll be looking at with you, Greg.
Gotta love it.